is the worst notification you have received while someone else has had your phone? Story 1. I was the one doing the sending. I moved to Japan a couple of years ago, and early one morning I was at a market and saw a tanuki statue that had the full N on display. I took a picture of it and thought it would be funny to send my brother a message reading unsolicited PIC, then sent a pic of the tanuki statue. Little did I know, halfway around the world, my brother was doing some late evening car shopping. He had recently been in an accident that had totaled his car and was in the market for a new one. He had handed the car salesman his phone so he could show the guy the pics of the damage to his car, and the guy was looking through them when the words unsolicited PIC popped up on the screen. My brother said the guy nearly dropped the phone, trying to shove it back in his hands. My SGL was staying with me for a week, which I wasn't stoked about. My sister knew about it and messaged me, "How are you dealing with SIL's name? Do you need to pretend to have a nap again, lol?" Unfortunately, my SIL was borrowing my tablet at the time and saw the notification pop up. She hasn't stayed with us since. Story 2. My boyfriend and I send each other randomly during the day, like FedEx me, that pecker or flap them my way. I was showing my mom something on my phone once, and he sends in a slap you with my tonight. Story 3. My friend made this fake account on Twitter and followed me exactly at the time my teacher had taken my phone away. The notification read in Alphaster 6969 has followed you. Story 4. I was ordering food off of DoorDash on my ex's phone when she got a text from guy saying he couldn't wait to see her that weekend. She told me she was going to see her mom. Story 5. A couple of years ago, met a guy from Tinder in a pub for our first date. Things were going well. We were having a laugh and flirting. After about an hour, I took out my phone to show him a funny meme, and up popped a notification from my new period tracking app saying today's the day. You're ovulating? I swiped it real quick, and I don't think he got a good look at it, but I was still worried he'd think I was some child-obsessed weirdo who timed my dates so random Tinder guys could impregnate me. I turned off ovulation notifications after that. Edit, and I was the sender once when I text my friend who was planning to break up with her, "Hope you're okay. How did Gary take the breakup?" when Gary was using her phone and hadn't yet been broken up with. Sorry, Gary. Story 6. My friend texting me, "Ill eat you are," while I was showing my mom meme, never swiped away a notification. So fast in my MF life edit were both girls, and it was a joke, I think, probably not though. Knowing her, edit 2 Emma tagged them in this post. Unate Jr. 98 at 3 stop asking her to eat y'alls. Maya's the only snack she's getting. Story 7. Other way around. I was holding ex-husband's phone while he was driving me and the kids to the airport. Text comes in from a work colleague asking if we had left yet. It was then that I realized the marriage was over. Story 8. This happened to my friend. I sent him a text of a wet cat and said, "Look at this wet." While my other friend's mom was holding his phone, she just awkwardly gave him his phone back. I was chatting with a guy, and it was going well. Nothing, maybe mild flirting, so I didn't care when I gave my buddy my phone for some reason. Then across the room, he yells, "Why, this dude just asked if you'd be down for." Edit, no, I would not be down to do, especially not with people I barely know. Border Patrol had my phone, and my buddy sent me a text in which he jokingly said something like, "What makes you think they'll let you in this time?" or something like that. Story 9. Showing my aunt a pic when a text saying, "ID the out of machine gun," Kelly appeared. We both pretended we didn't see it and quickly started talking about something else. Story 10. Not my notification, but I sent to my best girlfriend, "You're right. Future husband's dad is weird and a little racist," and her future husband saw the text. Luckily, he laughed and agreed with me, but I was so embarrassed that he saw it. Story 11. My mom was looking up stuff on my prescription app on my phone when a message came in from a group chat I'm on, a group chat named Pornographic Material. I turned Instagram notifications off after that. Edit, no, the chat was not full of, it was memes with some of my edgier friends. Story 12. I was showing my grandma some pictures. She chuckled a bit and quickly handed me back my phone. I looked at it and saw that my boyfriend, now husband, had texted me saying, "I hate it when I'm pooping and my touches the water. Big problems." We laughed about it, but my husband is still horrified by the thought of my grandma knowing about his big problems. Story 13. This post shows us that phones just need a simple side button to temporarily turn off all notifications. Edit, FYI. I appreciate that you are you and that your comment is unique and meaningful. But just so you know, 40 people have already responded with the suggestion of using airplane mode, do not disturb, or OnePlus. Story 14. This actually happened recently. I gave my dad my phone, called my mom because his phone was dead, and my GF sent me a text that said something along the lines of, "Hey, do you want to have some fun at my house tonight? My dad lost it." Edit, just to clarify, he lost it by laughing. He didn't ground me or anything. Edit 2, it never happened. I wasn't ready for that kind of commitment, and am still not. So I broke up with her. Edit 3 and 14. Story 15. Story apps can give really interesting ones. My favorite that popped up while my boyfriend was holding my phone was something like, "Mike misses you, come back and play," or something like that. Of course, all he did was pull the drop-down menu down to see the full notification and laugh. He teased me about it for hours. Story 16, not exactly a bad message, but I lent my jacket to my crush, and it had my phone in its pocket. Someone sent me a message, so she got it out to give to me, but unfortunately she had sent me a message before that, and saw that her name was marked with a heart. Awkward night after that. Story 17, not really my phone, but I had text notifications on my computer, was working with a vendor, and sharing my screen. My so picked that time to send me a text that said that was the most amazing we've ever had last night. I silenced the notification as fast as I could, but the vendor went quiet for half a minute and then said, "Good job," so got out of that awkward zone pretty well. I never share my screen with notifications active ever again. Story 18 years ago, I was working in Apple store as a Genius technician and was helping an older woman with her phone. This woman had to be in her late 60s, early 70s, as sweet as could be, and was having some minor issues with her phone. I think it was battery life or something. So she hands me her phone, and just as she does, a message pops up with a picture of a toilet full of, and the message reads, "How many times do I have to tell you to flush the toilet?" Not knowing really what to do, I just hand it back to her and tell her she has a message. She takes the phone, half smiles, closes the message, and hands it back saying, "Sorry about that, sweetheart. My daughter could be a bit of a..." Story 19, I was showing my coworker a picture of my son. Well, my girlfriend at the time, who is now my wife, sent a text. It was something along the lines of having a threesome. Story 20, more of a shitty contact name, but 2 stories. One of my high school buddies put himself as Jew boy in my phone, made my Jewish roommate super uncomfortable understandably. The other is that I have a friend named Richard. This quickly became penis Willie Seaman in my phone. Boy, does my mom regret using my phone to take a picture. I was texting with a platonic friend of mine to meet up, and when she sent me a bossy text, I responded with a sarcastic, "Sure, my honey. Well, do that. Love you." She didn't read that message, her parents did. Story 21, good news. The bump is not yours. Bad news. You might have herpes from a former FWB I had running earlier in the day, while my girlfriend at the time had my phone. Story 22, I've had the reverse of this situation happen to me. I was using my flatmate's desktop Mac, and as iOS users will know, any notification you get on your iPhone will appear on screen on all of your other Apple devices. I was on the computer in his bedroom, while he was in the kitchen grabbing a snack, and he received a phone call from an unknown number. I saw this notification on his computer, which gave me the option to answer the call for him. I thought it would be funny if I took the call before he could answer it on his phone, meaning he would have to run through to his bedroom, where I would be silently laughing myself to an early grave. I clicked to answer, expecting it to be some kind of cold call. The voice on the other end, amplified by my flatmate's gratuitous Sonos speaker setup, said, "Hello, this is the police. My soul left my body." I absolutely cannonballed out of his room, making the most apologetic eye contact I have ever made with a human being. Turns out he'd been caught red-handed in a traffic incident on his way back from an interview, and they got his contact details from the dashcam footage of his registration plate. They were calling him in for some questioning. It was a wonderfully devious experience which I was absolutely not prepared for, and we have never spoken of it since. Story 23, when I was in high school, my friends and I had the habit of giving each other funny contact names on our phones based on jokes we came up with. To this day, my high school friend contact names are things such as River, Jeff, the Baby America, Sugar Mama, etc. When we were juniors, a girl who was obsessed with my friend led to his contact name becoming Booty Lord with some rather suggestive emojis following it. Everything was fine and dandy, until a few months later when I had forgotten about it. I was applying for a leadership position in a club I was a member of and was required to get 2 letters of recommendation. For the second letter, I asked one of my teachers, who happened to be a very conservative man in his late 70s, if he could write one for me. Being the lazy son of that he was, he told me to write the letter myself, saying all the things I wanted him to say, and had sign it. After I finished typing up the letter, I handed him my phone to let him read and approve it before I printed it out. About 45 seconds after I gave him my phone, he very loudly and incredulously said, "Booty Lord," and gave me a horrified look and shoved the phone back into my hands. That was hard to explain. Not a notification, but opening browser with inside. Story 24, not me, but a friend well called Bob, some friends, and I went out one night to watch a show in town. Afterwards, we decided to go get some drinks and decided to carpool. Bob's phone was dying, so he asked if he could charge it on the way over with a car charger. While it was charging, it had apparently connected to the car speaker system, and without a warning, the car read a new text message out loud to all of our surprise, "Hey baby, it's been a long time since you came in my mouth. How about we hook up tonight so I can taste that juice again?" Needlessly to say, he was mortified and the rest of us rolled with laughter on our way to the bar. Story 25, my fiance calls me by an affectionate nickname. Happens to be in reference to my body. Sent me a text with that while a fellow medical student was using my phone to look up treatment options for a patient while we were rounding in the hospital. He just handed the phone back quickly and said, "I think you got a text," but the poor guy was blushing. Story 26, chatting to a guy in a bar. Handed him my phone so he could type his number in. At that moment, a message pops up from my friend sat several tables away saying him. Story 27, obligatory, not me, but a friend, my roommate's mom, came to visit, so we decided to take her out to lunch. While we were waiting, my roomie took out her iPad. She had some board games on there, so we started playing Sorry together. She obviously didn't think about how all her devices were linked, because halfway through the game, a "you want a text" notification comes in at the top of the screen, followed by a thumbnail of a dick pic. Sorry indeed. Story 28, me and my friend used to do this thing where we'd make weird noises on the phone, mostly just to annoy the other person. I decided to call my friend, and when the call was answered, I let out a groan that progressively turned into a screech. Turns out his dad was the one who answered, and all I can hear is a him yelling, "Why the are you friends with this guy?" In the background, I never saw this as a competition, but if it was, I think I won. Story 29, when I was about 11 or so, someone replied to my YouTube comments saying, "What the FK is a peach pear panda," my account name at the time. This isn't as good as some of the other replies, but at the time I was pretty embarrassed because my mom had my phone. Story 30, I've been playing The Simpsons tapped out since it came out on Android. They have push notification with Homer's voice, and I remember one time when my coworker had my phone, I got this particular one where it's Homer screaming, "Hey, H-E-Y." It scared my coworker, and they dropped my phone, and it hit the side of the desk. Luckily, the screen didn't crack, but the volume button on the side was up after that where I guess it hit. Story 31, once I returned from vacation and showing my whole family my pics. And here comes a notification from Pornhub Brazzers has uploaded a new video, and everyone went silent for a minute. But then my brother said, "I too am tired off these spam notifications, you should report him," and I was saved. Story 32, so backstory and I met through a mutual friend who happened to be my FWB. After mine, I got together, my FWB, and I stopped sleeping together, obviously. But we all remained friends. They were in the car together, and I didn't know I was teasing my with nudes and videos. My told me that he saw a notification from me and had my ex-FWB open it since I was driving. They quickly realized it was a video of me from my ex-FWB. Shut it off, super awkward, and I didn't know until the next day. Story 33, not me, but my mom. Went skiing with her and myself. Her partner at the time was also snowboarding, but at a resort about a 20 minutes drive from where we were staying. He was there with his friends. In the town they were staying at, there's a really nice steakhouse which does an amazing filet. Anyway, he sent her a picture of the steak the one night whilst we were just chilling in the hotel room. As she turns the phone around saying, "Oh, look how amazing this steak looks," another message pops up unknown to my mom saying, "Tastes like your PSSY." And that is how I cannot eat filet steel anymore. Story 34, left my phone on the kitchen table and went to pee. My parents were making dinner and my mom saw the notification from my pop-up. I was confused when I came back in the kitchen and my parents were laughing. Thanks, iPhone. Story 35, well, maybe this is not the worst notification, but it's the funniest situation. My mom was holding my phone, and I received a notification from YouTube. It said that a person called Alan uploaded a video. Alan was my classmate, and I used to subscribe to his channel. My mom said, "Who's Alan? Is that your boyfriend? Are you trying to hide something?" I spent 20 minutes explaining to her who Alan was. Story 36, I followed a fanfic author on Tumblr. She posted a lot of stuff, including ass-fills I was following for her dystopia. Oh, and a notification from male character. First time barebacking ass-fill came up whilst my friend was seeing cinema listings because the cinema app wasn't working on her phone. I am known in my circle of friends for my lack of interest in smut, so it was a shock to her, and embarrassing for me. Story 37, my crush was holding my phone at lunch playing Minecraft. My friends at another table texted me and said, "I bet you have another in the lab," was the unfortunate truncated message my husband read when I received a text message from my colleague about a cadaver he was extracting larvae from. We're forensic entomologists, and we dispense with professional decorum in text messages for levity. My husband isn't familiar with the colloquialism beyond its connotations. Is a skeletonized cadaver. It's supposed to be silly, but my husband was not amused. Okay, so basically, I had lent my brother my phone the day before, and he's really into furry stuff. We are all very ashamed of him, but to each his own, and he went and posted some NSFW comments on a furry subreddit. Anyway, background. My friend's mom is very religious and doesn't like the idea of anything that isn't considered normal. And so next day, I was trying to show my friend and his mom the timetable for the next GCSE exams, and lo and behold, A notification comes up for a furry subreddit, and let me just tell you, my friend's mom's face after reading the message could kill. She promptly asked me to leave, and I had a lot of explaining to do when I got home. 010, wouldn't recommend. Story 38, not my phone in high school. There was a couple who had recently started dating. Let's call them John and Sarah. They were both seen as quite innocent, and we were all in theater together. I was at a rehearsal at John's house, and he showed me his phone for a second. Right as I looked, a text popped up from Sarah saying, "I want you to me from behind." I was a bit in shock and started laughing uncomfortably. And when John received his phone back, he was horrified. Personally, I just thought it was hilarious and definitely a pivotal moment with that group of theater kids. Story 39, recently married. 3 months in, wife went to Yosemite for a girls' trip. I texted and didn't hear back for a couple of days, which worries me because she had cell service and was posting on social. I opened up her laptop and iMessages started to come in, and I saw that a guy I didn't know, but apparently her old high school flame were missing each other. Divorce. Story 40, my best friends, and I share an inside joke about this one guy we all used to chill with in high school. Because when we were in high school, we were drinking at my house, and this friend of ours got too drunk and ran to the bathroom, ready to puke. He started screaming for help, so I run in, and he's laying on the toilet, almost ready to throw up. And I tell him, "Yo, just throw up, man, you'll feel better." And he looks up at me with tears in his eyes, and he's like, "I need someone to hold me. When I puke, can you hold me?" I'm like, WTF. LMFAO, he continues saying, "My mom usually holds me when I puke. Can you hold me while I puke?" I was like, holy man, what the year 17 years old, LMFAO. Anyways, my best friends and I would always have really retarded vocabularies or retarded quotes or sayings would always share, and somehow we ended up asking each other to hold them as a joke. I'd be like, "Bro, hold me," and would always laugh remembering that night of my friend looking up at me with tears in his eyes asking to hold him, LMFAO. Anyways, we were planning to chill after work to get drunk and hit up a club, and my friend texts me while my phone is charging the break room at work, saying, once you're done, we'll meet up and hold each other, LMFAO. Anyways, I asked my co-worker if he's going inside to the break room, and if he's to grab my phone for me. He does, but has the strangest look on his face when he brings it to me. I check my text and see what it says as I burst out laughing. Only close friends with inside jokes get the said jokes, but appears complete nonsense or up to anyone who overhears, lol. Story 41, I used to be the director of an a cappella group. During rehearsal, I would project sheet music from my tablet onto a big screen to help people follow along. We were having solo auditions one day, and after one girl auditioned, the assistant director texted me from across the room, "Oof, that was awful." My tablet received the message, and the notification was displayed for everyone in the group to see, including the girl who had just auditioned. Story 42 was trying to show a good buddy at work a little 8 feet 1950 John boat I was restoring when my wife decided to send me a pic of her at that exact moment. I handed my phone over. Story 43, once I was texting this guy, and I had mentioned to him that I was a fan of the James Bond movies. Then, my friend at the time was playing a game on my phone until a text popped up from that guy, saying, "Who is the hottest James Bond?" My friend who had my phone was like, "What the?" And I felt so embarrassed because he had probably gotten the idea that I was gay. And keep in mind at the time I was not out and was still in the closet. Story 44, I have one of these encounters. Well, it was a normal day. Okay, I ain't wasting your time. My friend had my phone because he wanted to call his girlfriend. When he picked my phone up, he saw a Tinder notification. Turned out that his ex-girlfriend had liked me on Tinder. This was the most awkward thing to happen at the time. I ended up with my friend who was just too shocked for the time that we hanged out. Truly awkward. Story 45, I was planning Halloween costumes with a friend one year, and we decided to do the Breaking Bad guys. At work, with my phone face up, I was with some coworkers and got an alert that read, "I found the little baggies for the meth. Immediately stopped notifications forever and ever, amen." Story 46, it wasn't my phone. It was my boyfriend's. He left his phone on the sofa while he excused himself to use the restroom. A text popped up, tone and all, and I automatically looked. We had great respect for each other's privacy. So, of course, I didn't read it. I did, however, see the name. He came out of the bathroom, and I asked who Jane is. Had never mentioned a woman named Jane. My niece, he answered. He came from a large family, and I couldn't keep track of all of his nieces and nephews. We went back to the movie we were watching, and I never thought of it again. We had a wonderful relationship and great respect for each other. The kind of love that I thought had been made up to sell books and movies. It was the most real thing in my life. I'd been twice divorced, and it was only with him that I learned what real love is. My own parents didn't love me that much. I wasn't just happy with my life. I was ecstatic. Nothing else mattered because I was truly loved. 5 years of absolute bliss. I agreed to work late one day, and I was texting with him during my break. He told me of our plans for the night. going to dinner with his best friend, and said he'd tell him would be a bit late. I had to go back to work. I got home that night to find the best human being ID ever known had passed away suddenly while trying to get in the shower. Massive heart attack. They said the only thing I remember is screaming and crying. It couldn't end this way. He was far too young and healthy. Almost 2 years later, and I'm still in shock. 2 days after he died, I got a message from Jane. It turns out that Jane was the woman in his other life. As in he had 2 lives, another home, another woman, etc. I still don't understand how this was possible. But she had definite proof that she shoved in my face. She didn't know about me either, so I felt bad for her. Eventually, I found out that she was everything he couldn't stand. He'll never understand. He'll never get over this. I'm just an empty shell now. I quickly stopped messaging with Jane, as I couldn't take it. All I remember about his infidelity is that text message. Had never lied to me. So why wouldn't I believe him? Now, I have no idea what was a lie and what was the truth. He was the most important thing that happened to me. I thought losing him was as bad as it could get. Boy, was I wrong. I still don't know where to go from here. What he did doesn't make me love him any less, even though sometimes I wish it did. I apologize for mistakes. This is my first comment on anything here, and I'm not even sure I answered correctly. Please be kind. Story 47 pre-corona. For work, I would have to hand my phone over for people to sign and tip for pizza deliveries. I once got a Tinder notification without knowing a guy was signing. As I hand him the pizza, the guy hand back the phone and goes, "Looks like you got someone to spend this on tonight, bud." Not the worst, but definitely a funny one. Story 48, not my phone, but I was there for the whole thing. My friend, he gave his phone to friend B. Friend B put in a group chat, "Would you like to see my hentai collection?" There were teachers in that group chat. I quickly found friend, showed him, and we found friend B afterwards, who had no idea teachers were their friend A. Apologized, and fortunately no one took it seriously, as it obviously wasn't him. Story 49, not me, but my friend. We both bought iPhone 4S together, and had the same message tone, and we used to sit side by side at work. One day his phone, which was on my left, received a message, and I instinctively looked at the screen. Message was from his wife, who he had saved with her first name, just like I had, and he had the option enabled to display a line of message on the lock screen. The message just said urine, and I'm thinking, why is she calling me in? Story 50 was dating a girl that would lose her phone, so she would borrow mine to make calls. Another friend F texted me a picture of her in her dinosaur Halloween costume. The girl came back to me and slapped me in the face through my phone at me, yelling, "What kind of sick are you into?" while storming off. This was at my work bartender, in the middle of a busy night. Everyone in the restaurant looked at me like I diddle kids or something. Story 51, my friend was at my house, but I had him under a stupid name. Sooner or later, when my mom had my phone, he sent me a text talking about what great we had last night. Let's just say that my mom had some questions. Story 52, I was texting this girl that was part of the DD campaign I was in. We were just talking about our interests and getting to know each other. Completely harmless stuff, right? Wrong. My mom was looking through my phone and saw her text come through and freaked. She literally yelled at me, "Who is this girl? How did you meet her? ECT?" Apparently, she had gone through all of our texts we had originally been taking on IG DMs and then switched to texts. So our first messages were, "Hi, it's me from IG," and it looked like I'd been texting this random girl I met on IG. Oops. Story 53, not notification, but when I was in middle school, the iPod Touch came out, and I had saved up a lot of money. So I bought one. I was letting my friend use it during lunch, and he starts laughing his off. He shows me the screen, and he's on Google, where the first search history result is What of Course I'm 13. So it was obviously my natural inclination. I try to play it off by saying it was research for my biology project. Nobody believed me. Story 54, I gave my phone to my best friend to show him a video. He was totally into the video until a dude I had with texted me, "Hey, just got from the doctor. Test yourself for chlamydia." My friend laughed hilariously, and I later found out I didn't have chlamydia, but it still was so bad. Story 55, so opposite. I was using my husband's now ex-husband phone when he got a Facebook message from his side chick asking when they were in again. The look on his face, priceless. Story 56, I did this to my roommate once. Background, he's a professor at college, and I'm a first responder. We usually would leave around the same time in the morning for our work days. So I knew he would be awake if I was bored at work and wanted someone to harass. On this particular shift, my first call out of shoot was a prolapsed anus. Of course, I had to tell someone about this medical marvel. So who do you think I texted just shy of 8 a.m.? He had just plugged in his Mac into the projector, and lo and behold, the text message, "Nothing like starting your day," then with a prolapsed anus pops up on his screen for his entire class to see. Yeah, I got an earful that night, and he changed his computer messaging settings. Still one of our favorite stories to tell. Story 57, not me, but my brother. He was showing me a video, and a notification from Grindr popped up. He immediately swiped it away. I knew he was gay, but he just never said about his sexuality. I asked him about, and yeah, he's gay. Story 58, my mom read that my young 18 at the time and very innocent-seeming ex-girlfriend wanted to buy, but knew she had to be good to earn it. I've never seen someone go so pale so quick. Story 59, texted my buddy a meme of an angry fish that said prepare your anus. While his boss had his phone, he said she has a great sense of humor and was cracking up at the situation. Story 60, wow, your boss really is a piece of while I was showing my boss a picture of something work-related. He got fired a few months later, and I took his job. Story 61, probably too late to be seen, but I was the one holding the phone. He handed it to me to show me something funny when his former side chick that he cheated on me with texted. It wasn't anything explicit or anything, but the terms of him coming home included never talk to her again, so I handed him his phone and told him to get out. Story 62, I have an alternate account that I use to view art. I was showing my mom something funny on my phone when I got a notification for one of the subs I follow. I was able to hide it real quick, but yeah, that was fun. Story 63, I handed my grandma my phone to show her what Baja Blast looks like. Got a Reddit notification on a comment I made on a post where I said, don't be weird. Story 64, not even my phone. I once tried Snapchat for a couple of days a few years ago. I'm old and wasn't impressed, so I ditched it. My GF a few months ago installs it and asked what I think about it. I told her I thought it had its uses and why our daughter shouldn't be allowed to have it, etc., but that I myself don't use it. Snapchat, I presume, matches your contacts to its database of users. So, of course, when she installed, my name came up in her Snapchat contacts. So now, she thinks I use Snapchat and that I just lied to her about it. Now, why would someone want to lie about Snapchat? Why to cheat, of course, I asked her to look through the app and see if it has a last active notation or something similar. And I immediately tossed her my phone and gave her permission to look through it for Snapchat. She refused, but continued to think I was cheating on her. Granted, she was mentally ill, and part of that illness is suspecting the worst in people. But it's unfortunate what damage a little ignorance and suspicion can do to a relationship. Story 65, my brother's contact name on my phone is my wife's boyfriend. He called me while I was showing something I was looking for on my phone to a poor grocery store employee. I don't know what's worse, him seeing that or my panicked response. Oh, sorry, that's my little brother. Story 66, in Spanish la vile means I raped her, but can be used as in I destroyed someone in a video game and such. So one day a friend of mine had my phone while another friend said, don't worry, I raped her. Story 67, other way around. I was borrowing my boyfriend's computer to send him some pictures from his computer to his phone. In the upper corner was nonstop talking from girls. I clicked on one, and she sent pictures. Turns out he was sending money to women. My money, several $100s. Story 68, I was texting a good friend of mine about how much I hated my dad. He was very abusive. Probably still would be if I lived at home, and then my dad asked me to look something up for him. So I did and handed him my phone. When I got it back, I realized I had a new message where my friend talked about my dad. It had to have popped up a preview on the screen, so my dad definitely read it. Oops. Story 69, I heading to my school's office of career services getting my resume reviewed. I got a few texts from a guy vividly describing how he wanted to me, but I didn't open the messages since I was thinking about the upcoming meeting. During the meeting, I turned on my laptop to show my resume. As the career services woman was reading my resume and giving me feedback, the notifications I didn't clear on my phone for the text all popped up on my laptop. She didn't say anything about it, but the notification stayed there for a couple of seconds. My face started burning up while we continued to talk about my resume. Very professional of her. Story 70, this happened to a friend. When we were on biology class, he was using the phone and the teacher caught him. H had forgotten to close Pornhub. Biology teacher didn't told us, but my friend did. Story 71, I'm a teacher, and a girl was on her phone. ID asked her a couple times to put away. She's a great kid, and I typically take the phone to hold on to until the end of class, just trying to get them to focus. A few minutes pass, and a notification pops up on her phone. It caught my attention just because it's a noise. I didn't try and go through her phone or anything, but the notification said you're ovulating soon. At that point, I just figured I'd give the phone back to her. She saw my face, was puzzled, looked at her phone, and started cracking up. She's a great kid that every teacher deserves.